Welcome to all the people that aren't joining live, but who aren't joining live, but kind of like watching it in post. Welcome, because you're the only people who see this. Everybody who joins live, they don't really see this. So, what I'm thinking about, what's on my mind, is I'd really like to have this live thing auto post. And so I was thinking about doing a quick webhook with GitHub Actions to also show how I like to do crons. But let's see. Okay, we got dark mode. Really wants this feature merge. So I want to give a little chat about dark mode. A little rant, if you will. Maybe I'll wait though until the dude who does this. He says he's around. Checking out his profile before I do my dark mode rant. It's a pretty cool profile. Give him a follow. I feel like I'm doxing that guy. Anyway, well, while I'm waiting for that, yo, what up, Bonch? What up? Welcome. So I'll go into my dark mode rant later. Until then, I think what I want to do is I've had this idea in my mind. I want to build like a little controller, a little game controller. And I haven't how is my contribution tracker PR? I think I already reviewed it. I think it conceptually it's good, but we need to simplify the architecture a little bit. Bring it into the fold. I want to make sure that anybody working on TS Circuit has pretty consistent expectations. You know, you're using Tailwind, and you use Tailwind, so you got that part right. But my point is like, the more unified a project is, the better the collaboration is. That's a very important thing. There's probably like 3 things I want to do on the stream other than reviews. I want to do this game controller. I want to work on, we were talking about a new architecture for our AI for TS Circuit, because our AI is pretty bad right now. So I kind of want to work on that architecture a little bit. We're talking about splitting it into 2 separate AI, maybe 3. So design is good. That is what I'm asking. I don't know. I'd have to run it locally, right? Because it doesn't deploy with Vercel. I'd have to run it locally, I think, to tell you if the design is good. But generally speaking, Ansh, like, I liked what I saw in Discord, so I'll just complain after it's merged. I think based on what you posted in Discord, I would accept it already as an initial PR. I'm not going to be too anal about it, but anyway, let's see if we can make a little game controller. And what I want to do, actually, maybe we'll implement a core feature to make it a little bit better. So here's what I'm thinking. We have this push button that I like. It's a nice little push button, but it has this issue where the symbol doesn't quite work properly. So I'll show what the problem is, and then maybe we'll implement this core feature called internally connected pins to make it work a little better. So let's import that push button snippet. Yeah, I like the idea of the contribution tracker having a UI. So I'm all aboard. You know what though? I wish instead of Vite you had used Bun, because Bun has a built-in server now that's really close to Vite. So actually, if you're down to try it, I would actually take a look at Bun's solution for bundling HTML, because it's really good. But you would have to build it into a static site. So maybe not actually, because it might be a little. Well, no. You could use it actually. It's basically Vite. So yeah, I don't know. I would consider it. Anyway, let's add a push button here. What we're gonna do, so a game controller, I want to make a push button game controller. So if we just add these guys and we give them a very normal name, switch 1, switch 2, So we have, you can see we have two stacked on top of each other. So let's move them away from each other. Oh, you know what else I wanted to do this stream? Get that a Discord bot to auto post when I'm streaming from a GitHub action. Discord has webhooks. Unfortunately, I didn't create the webhook URL before this, but I could probably do that on my other screen. But yeah, like basically, like Discord has webhook URLs. So if I just figure out a way to ping like the YouTube API or anything. Abaji, what up? Long time no see. Yo, yo, yo. Can't believe you guys are awake. It's quite late. It's quite late, but it is a Friday. Let's see. I don't know if this will work, but there's a new import available called SEL. It's a new feature just released. Let's see if this works. It's not giving me a type error, so I think it might work. So SEL is like a easier way to write selectors. So I can do sel.sw1.pin1. See that? And I get kind of type safety the whole time. So it makes life a little bit easier. Can I read properties of undefined reading SW1? So I think that types are working, but it's not. It seems like it's not available in core yet. So you are reviewing GitHub profiles, roast me. Let me see if I can find yours. Ansh. You know, honestly, I ignore everything in here like 99% of the time. And then I go right down to here. And then I look at this and I go, ah, yeah, pretty good. You need more PRs, though. More PRs. Let's see what you PR to. Contribution tracker. See, you got to get this number up. TS Circuit Core. The docs now have a big project list. Overview of projects. And it shows the number of open issues. And something I've wanted to add to this is the number of bounties. Like the number of dollars of bounties. Let me see if I can find that. Algora badges. Algora bounty badges. Have you guys noticed there's like a million things that sound like Algora? I thought like there's Algolia, there's Algoa, or there was something else on the previous page. Agora. So many similar names. Okay, bounty badge. Badges. I have no idea how to find out. We have some badges, but they're not repo specific. Yo, TechMat, what up? I have added the README of TS Circuit. Take it from there. Oh, we need to get rid of this video. This video is quite old. When I'm done, I think what I'm going to do for the docs is I'm going to try to make a video per page. Yeah, I'll try to do a video per page, and then we can... and that'll just give me a good way to make videos. It'll give me something to talk about. You know, fun thing about this image, the background of this is AI generated. I wanted to change the background, so it auto clipped out the thing. And I was like, I actually really like it. I like how the focus is and stuff like that. Like, it's not realistic, but I actually like how it did the focus. And then this is like my actual desk, which is like, it's all clutter and stuff like that. So I didn't AI process this one, and I should have. Yeah. What up, TS Circuit people? What up, Sarb? So Rob. Can I get a review for the free routing CLI repo? Look at that. Look at that. Well written request for review. Gave me the repo name. I know where to go. I don't have to have a back and forth for 20 minutes. Docker manager, constructor, start container. You know, I don't love the name of this because it's a free routing Docker manager. It's because it is specific to free routing, right? The image. I don't like the generic name, especially because Docker is also here. So, but that is the right concept. That is good. Yeah, I'm glad you isolated that. Handle API error. Okay, so another thing people should know is I hate try catches. Stop any existing container before starting a new one. Okay, well that's weird. So it stops. Okay, wait, how does that work? How can you stop a container if you don't know it's running? This dot get container ID, but you don't have a container ID. Stop an existing container. Docker manager. This doesn't make sense. How can you stop a container if one isn't running? Inside the container ID will be null. I just don't think it does anything. You could say you would have to do something more advanced, and I would even give it a different function name, and I would make it a static method of Docker manager. You could say Docker manager kill all. And by the way, it's probably not. Are you actually stopping the container? You're removing it. Should this be kill? Because killing is different than stopping. Also, when you create, sorry, I'm just like going off. You can add a flag to create this as a temporary container. This might sound like, oh, like, you know, lots of details. But I actually think Docker is a really good thing to know about. So I think this is all very useful, actually. Route using local free routing. Okay. So we start the Docker container. You know what would be cool is if you checked for an existing running container, if somebody's already running it in the background, but that's fine. Okay, so we key the job. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like it. I think, like, yeah, I mean, I can be anal all day, but, you know, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You can also follow up and do the fixes in a separate PR. Yeah, you're about there. Where was I? Algora badges. So, yeah, we're gonna jump around a little bit. So this is weird. How does this badge work? Console.algora. Where does the image source come from? Copy image address. Oh, of course. That's not gonna work. We gotta look at the source. Okay, image.shields.io. And then it's got an endpoint status completed. So status. Yeah, it's tough because this URL in here, whatever URL it's pinging, it has, we need to decode the URI component. So I'll just paste that in. Okay, so console, Algora shields, bounties. Okay, can I specify the repo? Okay, so now we know where to look. Algora shields API. Because more people should work on core. I'm pretty sure there's like $1,000 of bounties in core that nobody is working on because they're too afraid to get into it. And I would be too if I didn't know that there was, you know, if you are a bounty hunter. If I didn't know there was a lot of bounties there, I would be a little bit afraid to get into it too. I don't want to be too like off brand for, you know, because, you know, we're really more of a developer oriented community. But I'm almost thinking about having like a little bit of a game night because I'm playing a lot of Helldivers right now. And I just play with randos online. And it'd be more fun to play with, like, interact with random people who are also contributors. So I might put out my my Steam handle if people want to do something like that. I usually just play with randos. It's a little bit easier because it's not as there's less commitment. But Yeah, I might put it out there. I don't know the dangers of doing that, but and then maybe we can live stream a game sometime. Love Helldivers. Helldivers 2. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It was fun. I mean, I think like I can see it getting maybe I could see it getting boring after a while because I've basically unlocked like, most of the stuff. Yo, I can fix the dark mode. I haven't given my rant yet about dark mode. So dark mode. Dark mode has so. All right, I'll do my rant on dark mode. Obviously, I'm joking. I know. But the reason for the name of the stream was we have this PR and an issue for dark mode, and it's pretty good if you look at it. Some images aren't loading for some reason, but it's pretty good. It seems to like mostly do dark mode and like whatever's not fixed, we could fix in a future PR. So the reason I don't like dark mode is because it basically is a drain on the entire project. It's there are a couple things that are a drain. Dark mode like slows the entire project down. Dark mode and internationalization. And I've fallen in these traps before, but if you do either of these things, everybody is going to have a slightly harder time developing. So, I think internationalization, it's probably plus 50%. It's like really bad. Internationalizing your application actually takes a ton of time. It adds a ton of complexity. Dark mode, I would say, adds 30%. I would say for us, dark mode might even add more than 30%. It could add like 50% just because we have so many libraries. And those libraries need to all have proper dark mode handling. So this is why it's very hard to merge dark mode. Even if you do a dark mode PR perfectly, which I'm pretty sure is not possible. Like, I like this implementation. I think it's pretty decent. But yeah, it's like a constant, you have to like fix it. And like, here's like, even right here, like there's this bug and we import CodeMirror or whatever. There's a bug in the line numbers, right? That kind of stuff. Like, you can have to go to upstream dependencies to fix that, right? Like, it's easy to fix on a landing page. It's not so easy to fix everywhere. So this is why dark mode is very, very hard to merge. The only way I would merge dark mode, and I would never bounty it. I would never bounty either of these because they actually are negative for the project. So I won't bounty them. But if somebody cares enough and they do a really, really good job, they could get merged. But it would have to be flawless because most of the time when people drop these features, they go away. They don't maintain it. They're not users of the product. So they come in, they do this feature, and then I'm stuck doing this 30% or 50% extra work. So that is why I do not like dark mode. Also, for contributors of TS Circuit, what I'm trying to show right now is there are a ton of bounties on electronics related things. You don't have to do web development work to be a contributor to TS Circuit. We have so many, the repo with the most open issues. We've got 66 on tscircuit.com. And then we've got 45 on core. I mean, like, basically, like, tscircuit.com, I guess, is the main website. But if you look at all of our other repos, in total, they have many, many more. I don't know how this repo has so many issues. I have actually something I can do. Easy fix, maybe. Oh, I don't know. Use a Chrome extension? I'm curious what your easy fix is. Why are you not streaming on Discord right now? You mean, like, why don't I have, like, an open chat channel where people can hop in? I don't know. I wasn't going to do a long stream. So, because I'm streaming so late. I could do, should I do, open voice chat? I'm not opposed to doing open voice chat. Let me see if I get, well, Do people want to chat? If people want to chat, maybe yeah. Let's do this review, and then I'll hop in the Discord, and we can do open chat. The main page header, I need to add MD overflow scroll. That's it. The main page header, I need to have MD overflow scroll. On the header, you want to add scroll overflow to the header? Are you joshing me? All right. Arn's a hero for this PR. Arn, I don't know if you're in here, but you are a zany guy, because I feel like we've had issues that were not like, I don't know, where like, I was like, that's like not that big of a deal. How does that a problem? But then this PR is actually quite difficult. So, I don't know, man. You got a lot of talent. I like it. Anyway, so this PR adds KY spec gen. Okay, so it lets you get a typed KY client for a winner spec API, and all of our APIs are based on winner spec. So they all use this kind of edge compatible middleware system, and he's generating a TypeScript object with this command line thing. So I had some issues with the test. It would be better in a separate file, but okay. All right. Sometimes you just gotta let things go. Okay, cool. Great job, Arn. Yeah, this is pretty cool because there's a lot of times I've wanted to give people the types for our backend, which is partially closed source, or I've wanted to just like have a typed client, and now we're able to generate those automatically from our API endpoints. So very cool system. All right, Algora badge API. Let's see if we can figure this out. Why can't I search badge on this page? They also don't have search on this page. Not that. Open a circuit with a star on a small screen like mobile. It pushes out of the screen. Open a small circuit on the editor page or the view snippets page. This page seems okay. It's got issues, but it seems generally okay. So you're probably talking about the view snippet page. So this page, yeah, that header is broken. This page is actually being completely redone. I think Absi is working on that. He might have stopped though. But we're going to redo this page. This page is really bad. Yeah, so we're going to redo that page. We're going to use SVGs. That's the other thing with tscircuit.com is like people will do all this work, and then it's like these pages, some of these pages don't stick around that long. You know, they're basically like experiments. But that page should statically load. We want to improve our SEO. So we want to what screen do you have? Do you have like 8K resolution? Yeah, sorry guys. I'm quite zooming around. This is only a 4K screen. Working on that page still, Absi. You know, our docs. I didn't show this off on stream, but I worked, I did a whole stream getting SVGs to render. These are just SVGs that are statically rendered. This code is encoded and sent as the SVG URL, and all of these SVGs work like that. So this page does not use runFrame or does not load any JavaScript dependencies. It's literally just a link to an SVG. And we're using that on all the docs pages now. So yeah, no worries, Absi. Why is there not a bot in TS Circuit? Well, that was what I started the stream saying. I would love to build that bot. To build that bot, yeah, we're going to do some stuff. Let's get this Algora badge working, and then we will Do they even document their badges API? I feel like I'm going crazy. I don't see any documentation on their badges API. Console Agora API orgs string bounties. That does look like the same thing we're using though. Let's just curl this out real quick. Okay, schema version rewarded bounties. Okay, so it's giving us the number of bounties. So we want status equals open. So that's the number of open bounties. $2,000 in open bounties. What other... Okay, so the API is API shields TS Circuit bounties. So that's... TS Circuit is the org. API shields. So bounties... I think I saw a status. Yeah, status of the bounty. So let's just assume that these parameters work. I literally think they don't document this. Can I say repo? I see repo owner, repo name. Let's try the repo name parameter. And repo name equals, and we'll say TS circuit. It didn't work. Repo name equals core. Let's try adding repo owner too. Yeah, it's not changing it. Retrieve a bounty, create bounties, repo owner. I don't know if they let us do this. So I guess we will have to ping Algora, see if they'll add that feature for us. Rohit, what up? Welcome. Yeah, I guess Algora won't do it. What I'd like to show is what projects you can get the most bounties in. Yeah. I don't know if there's a way to show it. I'm trying to think. I think we are limited by Algora here. Okay. Let's see if we can do a quick repo that runs a bun script that just posts to Discord every time I go live, because people keep complaining about that. So let's see. How can we do this? YouTube API. I like the YouTube. Everybody is suggesting using different APIs. I like the YouTube API. YouTube is like the most solid platform, right? Am I crazy? So YouTube API. Let's see how annoying this is to you. You know what? What am I even doing? Let's go to Claude. So using the YouTube API and a Node.js script, ping the API to see if someone is live. So we'll run a script every 10 minutes or something. Algora should add bounty for their doc update issue. I don't think it's a doc issue. I think they probably need to implement it, because the parameters I tried were really reasonable. The only parameter I didn't try, like if they had a name for it other than what I'm writing here, I would be surprised. But the only thing I didn't try is repo. I didn't try the word repo, so I could say tscircuit/core. But you can see we're still getting the $2,000, so. They might have an OpenAPI JSON. I think that's throwing an error. Or is that actually... No, that might be OpenAPI JSON. Yeah, I think that's OpenAPI JSON. So let's download that. Let's put it in downloads. Open API online. Swagger editor. Ah, yes, the Swagger editor. Okay, we import. Okay. So literally the bounties endpoint isn't even there. So I guess it's not in their open API. Bounties, ID, retrieve a bounty. List bounties. Rewarded. Yeah, I don't think they have it. I don't think they have it. Can't filter by repo. Okay, let's see what Claude said. Google APIs, Google your API key, replace with your API key and channel ID. The one thing I don't like about Google APIs is getting API keys tends to suck. I would actually pay for a service that makes it so I don't have to interact with Google. I think Theo was talking about this too. I think it's the reason he doesn't support on T3 chat the Google stuff. At present, I am a little bird in this dev world, okay? Interesting phrasing. When I try to get work, I am only I only get sus. Oh, sus? Like suspicious. Like crypto. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. Yes. Yes. That will happen. All right. All right, let's look it up. Get YouTube API key. Let's see how hard it is to get an API key. If it's easy, I'll do it. How to get a YouTube API key. Yeah, you got to go to the Google API console. This is like literally why I haven't done this. Got to go to the Google account. Blah, 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 blah. It's too much. Yeah, you know. That's why we don't have nice things. Has anybody made a Discord bot for this? I don't know. I don't care enough. All right. That's 2 failures. Let's get back to the meat. The nitty gritty. I hate this switch symbol. I don't know, this button symbol. I don't like it. Sorry to whoever made it. But it's kind of weird to me. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a button. It doesn't feel like a button to me. I feel like if it was a button, it should have a... Like, how I would redo this button is I would do something like this, and then this, and then instead of a little stick, I would do this, you know? And I already feel like that's infinitely better. You know what I mean? Doesn't that look more like a button? What the fuck is this with this trace coming out? I keep thinking it's like supposed to be connected or something. I'll put a bounty on that. It's not important enough for me to do right now. Fix button symbol to look more like a button. Give a $5 bounty. Right. What was I doing? Where were we? Push button. Switch one. Selector's not working. Yeah, I wonder why the selectors don't work. It's kind of disappointing. I guess it's an old version of TS Circuit Core in there, but this feature is really cool. Just bugs on bugs on bugs. Let's see. Fix dependencies, update dependency. I don't know. I think we just have an out-of-date version of Core in snippets. Let's give it an update. I want to use that feature. And then we can make our controller. you're wondering what Snippets is tscircuit.com. The project has been renamed. All right, so add latest version of core to enable using Sal. Because I want it. Why did it write this for the PR title? I wrote such a good commit, and then it just rewrote it to Sal. The GitHub CLI is really sketchy when you change the name of a repo. It's like everything breaks. Its memory breaks. Everything breaks. Okay. All right, we'll wait for CI to pass on that, and then we'll come back. In the meantime, there's a core feature. I think it has an issue. Internally connected pins, and that's going to make buttons work way better. Yeah, there's externally connected pins, and then there should be internally connected pins. Oh, let's say internally. It might be internally connected ports. Yeah, pins and ports. I think port is really the right name. So we'll do that. Okay, let's do it. What the spec for this isn't defined. We don't know what the property type is, so we're going to have to define that first. So we do that in the props repo. It's where we define all the React props. And we can go to, what is it? The reason this is a separate repo is almost so that people don't work on something without it like going through an approval process, because the API is so important. You want it to be reviewed kind of independently. So we'll add it to a chip. It'll be called internally connected pins. And I kind of like the idea of this being an array of arrays. Yeah. So basically, maybe a couple forms, actually. So how I see people using this is you have a button, and I don't know, we should look at a 3D model of a button, because they sound simple, and they are, but it's easier thinking about the model. Let's make this bigger. Okay, so we have a button, and it's got 4 pins, right? But it actually only has 2. These pins are internally connected. I believe it's actually slightly wider. So on one of these sides, the pins are connected together internally. Right? Push button, schematic, diagram with 4 pins. Yeah, internally connected. I'm glad somebody did this diagram. They spelled internally wrong, but it doesn't even matter. So on the wide side, they're internally connected together. Right? Pressed, released. They stay internally connected. Yeah. That would suck if it changed. Like it flips. So they're internally connected. When you're specifying internal connections, I can kind of see people doing it in 2 ways. One is you do this array of arrays. So you're like, pin 1 and pin 3 or whatever are connected, and also pin 2 and pin 4 are connected. So I can see that being like a common way to specify it. But if you only have one pair, I can also see people wanting to use the sort of flat array syntax, where you're saying, oh yeah, this pin and this pin are internally connected. Yeah, there's also kind of a jank approach. You could specify selectors, so you could say dot pin. That's jank. That's jank. Yeah, I think these are both. I keep mixing up this name. It should be internally connected ports. Yeah, I think this top syntax is probably best, but I can definitely see people making the mistake and using the bottom syntax. But I think the top syntax is probably the best. So we'll just go with that. And I'll also introduce, while I'm here, externally connected ports. So we do a double type definition kind of system. So we're seeing we need to define these props again, but natively in types, because we don't like Zod inference. Zod inferred types tend to not look so good when you're debugging TypeScript. So we will say, yeah, we'll explicitly define these things. I don't know why it's throwing read only on there. It's probably fine. We don't use read only. We maybe could, we maybe should, but I'm not going to think about it. Okay, and that's it. So we've done the API definition. So we'll commit that, add internally connected ports and externally connected ports. So this is kind of the first stage. You're proposing, in most people's cases, you're proposing the API for TS Circuit. And sometimes it'll be controversial, and a couple people will look at it. In this case, this has been discussed at length, so I don't think this one really needs any discussion. I see a spider on my wall, and I'm a little worried about it. You know, January gets a little cold. Bugs want to come inside, hang out. That's how it goes. Okay, so we merged this guy. This will be available in the latest version of props. So now we need to think about how we would implement this in core. And I think the implementation is pretty straightforward. If you have internally connected ports, then if you have internally connected ports, the main thing we want to do right now is make sure that the schematic draws correctly for those ports. So I was trying to show off the issue, but I tried to use this new selector thing, which we didn't merge. Everything's on dependent. It's just dependencies on dependencies all over the place. Okay. Oh, geez. Look at this description. So the PR change here is just a lock file. This lock file looks like garbage, but hopefully GitHub will learn to ignore this. And then we have TS Circuit Core. They say that you can resolve dependencies automatically fairly easily with this, but it's kind of unclear if that's true. I'm not sure. I think they make it so that each line is kind of a unique thing. So maybe, I don't know. I assume they thought about it really hard, but I haven't had a merge conflict with a bun text file yet, so we'll find out. I think if I had to design a lock file, I would consider making it append only. So that merge conflicts, they always result in just adding things to the end. And I'm kind of curious how that would work out, you know? Lock files are already a mess and super annoying, so can't get much worse. An append-only system would kind of like, you know, you would always resolve your merge conflict in the same way. You would just say, oh yeah, add it to the end. How can I test my implementation for this issue? This is actually what I was kind of chatting about. Okay, we're implementing this on stream now. I'm going to be very lazy about the linking. Let's see. 004500. So this is how we're going to test it. We should be able to come up with a combination where the schematic traces don't appear. We're waiting on the selector thing. Maybe I'll comment this out because that PR is going to take a little bit of time to go live. So we'll comment that out. I love that syntax, but I don't think we can use it. So we'll use the old selector syntax, which is like this. It looks like a CSS selector. So if I connect, we should separate these guys. So let's do schematic X is equal to -3. Schematic X equals 3. Okay. So this one draws properly. If we go to pin 2, it's also going to draw properly. But if we go to, I'm actually just going to move these to flow from left to right. Okay, same thing. Okay, if we do pin 3, it draws incorrectly. It actually, it seems to be drawing towards like 0, towards this kind of default of 0, 0. So TLDR, this is the repro. Yeah. I guess I'll say TLDR, this is the repro. The trace doesn't connect properly. It is maybe a little bit more complicated than this, so we'll go a little bit deeper. But yeah, so let's replace this with the built-in push button component. Yeah, so it's complaining. Let's check out the push button definition. Most push buttons actually do have 4 pins, but yeah, there's no representation of that. But that's kind of fine. This error is kind of okay. If we say footprint equals like SWIC 4 or something like that, something that has 4 pins, it should fix itself because now we're basically indicating, oh, you actually do have 4 pins. So we swapped out the footprint here, but we are sort of indicating you have 4 pins. It's weird that we get a PCB error. What's it saying? Cannot find a route. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, it's kind of weird. Why can't it find a route? Let's try using the cloud autorouter. See if it's an issue with the local autorouter. I don't know what's going on. Switch 1, pin 1 to switch 2, pin 3. It almost looks like the push button has knowledge of its internal connection already. Some jankiness, no doubt. Let's take a look. Push button. Okay, yeah, I think it's working in this really janky way. It says additional aliases. Oh no, side 1 and side 2 are actually fine. That's fine. I actually like that. Side 1, side 2. We should add that to the selector type safety. Yeah, so we're going to say, okay, on a switch, you can select positive, negative. You can also select side 1 or side 2. That's a really good way to reference a button, I think. I would say there's probably other things that are pretty important. There's a lot of different types of switches. There's like dual throw and stuff like that. So we'll figure that out later. Why are you complaining? Did I define this weird? Hold on. How am I supposed to define this? Oh, I don't need the record. I just say this. Yeah. Yeah, AI's been steering me in the wrong direction sometimes with those that autocomplete. I don't know. It's not always right. Okay, that's a minor improvement for the switch selectors. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing some crazy things with this routing here. I don't know why it's connecting these together. Switch to switch to switch one. I don't know. Very strange. Very strange. Why would you connect those things together? It's doing it automatically too. What would lead you to do that? Let's see if there's a push button test inside of Core somewhere. We have this push button test. We have some snapshots, so let's go ahead and run this. I'll turn on update snapshots so I can see what it's updated. So that's how a push button symbol is supposed to look like. Okay. That's a footprint, I guess. Footprint is push button. Okay. Yeah, so we really need a test that does 2 push buttons to see what's going on here. I don't like how we call it PB1. Let's call it switch 1, switch 2. That's a little bit more common. Oh, you know what it might be? It might be this footprint has no, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so push button component 2, multiple push buttons. Did I not do this right? I need to give these guys different positions here. Do something similar. 30mm board. Say -8. 8. Give it some distance. Whoops. Oh. Run the test. Look at the snapshot. Okay, cool. Now let's try connecting the pins together. From switch 1. Yeah, we can use side 1. We can try out that syntax. If it doesn't reproduce, we'll have to adjust though. Yeah, it seems to be routing fine. I don't know what's going on there. What might be happening is that push button has some custom stuff. Yeah, what the hell is going on? This is so weird. Let's try adjusting the footprint to SOIC4 because it's possibly an issue with that footprint. Every time I use TS Circuit, I find new bugs. I can't reproduce. The hell is going on here? It could be with this Cloud Auto Router. But then it was weird because this thing didn't like route. I don't know. It could be a bug with the Cloud Auto Router. So, oh, I commented out the trace. Actually, that does seem like a bug with the Cloud Auto Router. It's just connecting these things together for no reason. It's very strange, actually. I'm gonna file this. And it doesn't actually take. I'm gonna simplify as much as possible here. So if I make this a chip, does anything change? Doesn't seem to have a problem with chip, so it's just push button. I think there's some mystery stuff happening here. Let's take a look at push button. Push button extends normal component. Maybe it should extend a chip. Your test uses side 1, not the pin 3 from your repro. Also, welcome. Welcome. I won't name drop, although your name is quite obvious. But yeah, yo, what up, K? Big K. Your test uses side one. Right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Oh no, side one should be okay. Switch to side one. I mean, there's a couple things going on. Wait, could not find port for selector side two. We're deep in it now. We're deep in the what the hell is going on now. Let's see. Push button 2. Yeah, this seems okay. I think it's with our cloud auto router. Something weird is, why are these connecting? And only for push button. Gosh. See, man, you know, these bugs. It seems like a lot of things extend a normal component rather than a chip. Does chip have anything special in it? No, chip doesn't really have anything special. So I think it's okay that it extends normal component. Roughly the hierarchy for extending things in TS Circuit goes, you have a renderable object, because we call it rendering a circuit. And then you have primitive components, which like are like a line, stuff like that. Then you have normal components, and then everything generally extends, or normal components, sorry. This is our inheritance system for the so this inherits that inherits that. And then chip and everything else inherit from this normal component. So I would say the most complexity is inside of both primitive components and normal components, and transistor or resistor or whatever. But there shouldn't be any specific, like we just looked at push button. There's not really any specific handling in here. Like there's nothing special about this. Doesn't appear to be anything special. There's this port initialization. And then this only happens on the cloud auto router too. So very weird. What I want to see is if somebody like added like if push button or something like that. I don't see that though. Oh, very strange. All right, I'm gonna file this one. I don't know what's going on. That's pretty weird. I should probably get a reproduction inside of core. That would make it even better, but I think that's a pretty good like this is why we never get anything done. Every time I try to do something, I find a million bugs. Hey. And here are people doing all these web dev dark mode PRs. One is the same as externally connected props. Somebody is working on this. One is the same as externally connected prop. Yeah, no, I mean, it does seem like that, TechMan. I think if I understand what you're saying, it's almost like externally connected. Like this is what would happen if you said, hey, these pins should be externally connected. But it doesn't make sense that they're getting connected together. We can also try... Yeah, it happens with the push button footprint too. By the way, I can tell the margin, the margin on that hole isn't correct. I really need to have a thing that just takes a clip and creates an issue and just throws on the TS circuit issue every time this happens. This margin isn't right. I can tell that if you tried to solder this, you wouldn't have enough copper for that to solder, because we used to use the wrong hole size. So yeah, I don't know, that size of that diameter there is quite small. 0.1 millimeters. And I think now we do more than that. I think we do like 0.3 or 0.4. Okay. All right. Let's file a bug in core. Let's start there. With auto router equals auto cloud. Pins are externally connected on push button for seemingly no reason. I can't fathom why that would be happening. Especially like it seems to only affect the cloud autorouter. So it almost seems like an issue in we convert to this format called Spectra DSN. It almost seems like maybe because of similarity in names or something between the pins. I have no idea why that would be happening. Only happens with our cloud autorouter. Side 1, pin 1, port 1. Side 1, pin 1, port 1. You know what it could be? And there's no side 2. There's no side 2. What is going on? What is going on in the world right now? Okay, so there's no side 2. Why would there not be a side 2? Is that a bug in the footprint? Side 1. I don't even see it defined here. Side 1. This function sucks. I hate functions that don't have keyword names. Plated hole, PCB port ID, port hints, pn.toString. So I think the bug is it should I think we need additional port hints here for the plated hole. I think it should specify. So although, you know, is that always the same? Yeah, the footprint shouldn't have to worry about that. Because, you know, maybe ostensibly different push buttons could be connected differently. I think they're pretty standard, but no, you know what's going on here is a lot of fucking weirdness. So here's the problem with push buttons. They have 2 internally connected pins. So this, and then the schematic doesn't show those pins, obviously. It only shows 2 pins, but you have internally connected pins. And I think we have some interaction where some of the pins aren't being considered because they're not on the schematic. Anyway, very annoying, but I'm gonna try to make progress on something. Let's see if we can push this somewhere in the right direction. I could go down rabbit holes all day. All right, so still when we connect pin 1, pin 2, everything is fine. Pin 1, pin 2 works, but connecting to pin 3 just fails. It says it can't. Port 3. Yeah, for some reason it doesn't get... Oh. I think I know what's happening. So in our schematic symbols project, the project that defines all the symbols, we actually like take a lot of labels from this. Oh, is it not going to show it? But each of the... Oh yeah, there it is. So we take labels from these. So there's this little tiny text there that's like impossible to read. These are alternate names for the pin. And I think what's happening is the pin 1 name is considered an alternate for port 1. Just like for the LED, we have negative and positive being an alternate for 1 and 2. And for some reason, it's just not adding it as an alternate, even though pin 1 and port 1 are basically used interchangeably. So I guess that's pretty easy. All right. Slow and steady. We could kind of hack this if we did, because we could say, yeah, the issue is really it wants to hear port 3 maps to pin 3 side 2 or something like that. So I don't know. Oh, there's so much jank. So to do the internally connected prop, do we have to do this? I think we might have to. Oh my gosh. All I wanted to do was make a game controller or yell at people for doing dark mode instead of fixing these bugs. This is going to be a very unsuccessful stream from an outcomes perspective. Okay. I think it makes the most sense to start with building out maybe this test. So we'll just start with a test that doesn't work, and if we want to break it into subproblems, we'll fix it. So far this is working. But if I do pin 3, it will stop working. It'll actually error. Missing source port ID 2. Okay, so now we have a pretty concrete thing to fix. We've got 2 push buttons, and we can't connect pin 1 to pin 3 on one of the push buttons. So very concrete. And we even have an error location. So do initial schematic trace render with display label. So let's open that up. Something I've started doing lately is using Buns debugger. So let's throw debugger in there. And then we'll run this test, but I'll throw in inspect-wait. And then I'll open up the Bun debugger, and it should stop on the line right before the error throws. So now I can kind of, syntax highlighting super messed up, but I can kind of play with this a little bit. I wonder where it gets messed up. For some reason here, that's nonsensical. That line should be fine. I wonder if that'll impact. Yeah, I can't highlight things now. Oh, Bun debugger. Sad. Sad. Oh, man. So many bugs. Let's see. Am I allowed to modify the source code? I can't modify it to fix it. Okay, well, I can use this sidebar, I guess. Does Bun have a built-in debugger? Yes. 1.2 looks awesome. Agreed. Live showcase not looking so great. Also agreed. Yeah, no, Bun's debugger is pretty cool. Especially if you're doing like library development, and like for this particular case, it's pretty good. So I guess this is the object I'm curious about. Ports with position. So how does this function? What does this function even do? Do initial schematic trace render. So we're rendering a schematic trace with a display label. So we want to render a schematic trace, and we want to use a label. So we're basically just adding a net label. We go through our connected ports. So it looks like connected ports could be an interesting variable. Find all the ports that are connected to me. I am a trace. Find all ports connected to me. Okay. So let's see. All ports found true. It was able to find all the ports. Ports with selectors is connected ports. Okay, so let's find connected ports. I would say debuggers are just one small tool in the arsenal. They are not a substitute for having like a bunch of debug lines. That's one thing I miss from the Java Python world, a decent debugging tool. For what it's worth, I don't know. I mean, I've never been a big on debuggers, but this one's not bad. I don't mind it too much. Okay, so what ports are connected? We found 2 ports, port 1 and port 2, and then we have the object, which is pretty big. And this one in its props has aliases. It has the alias side1 and has the name pin1. But this one has the name pin3 but no aliases, which is fine. I think that makes sense. I think this is a pretty clean bug, actually. I think something is just wrong. That's pretty simple. Food?
Yeah, you have a sauce you want?
Barbecue ketchup. We're gonna eat some food. Yeah. Yeah, I will bolt, but I wonder if this is an easy bug. Now I'm on the case. Let's see. 2 port doesn't have a source port ID. Oh, you know when you build up all this context and you're like, it's going to be impossible to come back to this amount of context? Yeah, this is really cool too. Every port created in TS Circuit, it tells you what its origin is. So this one says, I came from a footprint. And I bet if we look at the other one, from port, I bet it'll have a different origin. Yeah, the origin is from the schematic. And then this one, the origin is from the footprint because it's not represented on the schematic. So that's really what this comes down to. Have you tried O1 Pro? It's crazy for debugging. Does it work well? I've been meaning to try it. Have you found that it works really well versus like O1? Because honestly, because O1 has kind of disappointed me on algorithm development, I haven't used it. But if O1 Pro was good, guest appearance. Oh yeah, did it pan over to her? It's bringing me my food. I don't like to eat where I like I have like designated areas for eating, but she like knows that I'll take too long to get to my food. It didn't, but I'd like to meet. I'm sure she'll pop up. She did a stream with me once. Owen Pro's reasoning ability is definitely better. Have you tried R1, DeepSeek R1? Because I've been playing with R1 and it's quite good. I like it. I like R1. I'm going to try the R1 Architect Sonnet pattern pretty soon, probably. A lot of people say, that come from Twitch, they say that like, oh, this stream is like different than game development. But at times like these, when I'm debugging stuff like this, I'm like, it's so, I think probably the problem with game development, I haven't watched game development streamers, but I would imagine the problem is like, they're dealing with like really esoteric stuff. And this is like a good example of like, this is like very esoteric. Like it's like electronics rendering pipeline shit. It's like not web. It's not really applicable web knowledge. R1 is equal to O1. O1 Pro is more nuanced in troubleshooting / recommendations. I will, I mean, it's $200 a month. I feel a little burned by Devin. Even though we still have access to Devin and we're still going to keep playing with it. And I'm hopeful they improve. They gave us, they generously gave us another month to try it out because they saw I wasn't, I wasn't getting an ROI that I thought I was getting. So they gave me another month, but I feel a little burned. I feel like I was willing to pay a lot, but then after you like pay a lot and you don't get that much value, you feel a little bit burned by it. I'll definitely give O1 Pro a try. I think O3 Mini is going to come out soon, so I'm really curious about that. I'm guessing O3 will only be available to Pro people, so I'll probably sign up for Pro if I like O3 Mini. But yeah, it's just hard to say. And I think Anthropic might have something soon too, so I just don't know who to commit to. Yeah, why does this guy not have a source port ID? So since we know the origin description, we have this advantage where we can see how this port was created. So I really like this feature. So we can look up where. So new port, we're pushing the port. And then where does it get its source port ID? As soon as it renders, it should get its source port ID. So it almost implies it never rendered. I just started playing with Pro, so I can't hard recommend, but it helped me track down an accidental global bug. That's nice. Yeah, I missed that. I felt like amazed by LLMs at first, and I've actually started turning them off a lot more because I feel like you solve a lot of the easier problems, you know, and then what remains is quite difficult. But yeah, I'll give it a try. All right, I do think I would love to chase down this rabbit hole, but I'll feel bad if I don't, if I let this food get cold that was so generously made for me. So thanks for joining. Sorry for the short one today. Probably maybe another stream tonight. There's so much stuff that I'm really, really excited about. We have this huge docs rewrite going on, and it's made me realize that there's actually quite a few things you can do, and there's also quite a few very basic things that tend to break, like push buttons, connecting. So we're going to be very obsessed, I think, with getting the basics down. And then we also have some really cool features with routing large boards. We've really wanted to increase the size of the boards we can route. So yeah, it's gonna be coming soon. Won't eat on stream. You are missing a big genre. It's not. I would eat on stream, and I used to eat on stream. But the problem is like my desk, I like it very clean. And so everything I have here is like, stuff that won't make, I can't stand a messy keyboard or something like that. So it almost has nothing to do with like, like not willing to eat on stream. No social. Where was the Soylent Bro I know and love? Yeah. He's dead. Anyway, okay.